Hello, everyone. We are with John Cotton from the Circling Institute.
Hey.
Hey. We just got to do a good vodcast together. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
And we're gonna circle each other now. So as you guys, if you hadn't checked out the content before, check out, there's tons of videos on circling. Circling is a practice of connection between two people, intimate connection between two people, and we'll be showcasing that. John will be circling me first, and we'll be kind of peeling back these layers that we build up on top, especially with technology being such an influence on that as well. And then later, we'll do the reverse. So I will circle John. And that'll be a separate piece of content, so be looking out for that. Anything before flip this guy over? Go about 25 minutes or so of circling and a couple-minute debrief afterward. Any thoughts before we start?
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ready?
I'm ready.
I liked you closing your eyes. How are you doing? Like, how's your heart? I think the reason I ask is you occur to me as a fairly busy and a little bit stressed, yet passionate, like happy, very relational. But I just watch you going at a high speed. So I'm just wondering how in touch with you are your heart? How's it doing? How's that part of your life? And how was it to hear what I just said? Like, how accurate is that?
Yeah. Very accurate. Very accurate. Lots of high-speed passion about what is being built, but also the recognition that also comes with lots of ebbs and flows, ups and downs, vicissitudes. Try to not dwell too long in the neurosis.
The neurosis.
Yeah. Yeah, it digs hard at the heart and soul if we dwell in it too long. So I move on, and I try and peel the layers back, feel, and move on. The reintegration and the completion. The heart has some, longing for. Is it possible to find someone that is on the same kind of level as I am about both IQ, EQ, matter, and energy?
IQ, so you want someone intelligent. You want someone who's emotionally intelligent, like they can get what's happening with you. And the third one was what?
Matter and energy.
Matter and energy.
But also I want them to be smarter than me. I want them to be attractive. Like, there's just so many of these wants, right? And I'd rather not invest my time right now going and trying to seek this. I'd rather invest my time in building out what's going on. Because I think he'll naturally gravitate more of what I'm seeking. I don't even know if I'm subscribing to the one partner forever mentality. Yeah, so there's a whole subscription that's been going on. Humanity's been subscribing.
So
Yeah.
I hear like you have a lot of expansive beliefs, right, about like where you want your attention and what's possible and what you might like to explore in terms of possibility of relationship itself. And yet the first thing, though, I heard was there's desire. There's a longing for somebody. You're wanting somebody who is your equal, your partner, has the same level of both breadth and depth.
Yeah.
And they can challenge you. They can help you grow.
Exactly.
And like you want the chemistry, you want the juice, you want the juice. You want to feel drawn to them, right?
Yeah.
The deliciousness of it.
Yes.
And then you sort of immediately went to, and I don't know that that's possible right now, so I don't know that it was almost like I don't know that I want to feel that right now, because it might put me into, it might take away from my creativity somehow or something.
Could also augment the creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remembered before you mentioned like neurosis. I don't know if they're two completely different things, like longing. It's like I don't want to. Maybe I don't want. I can touch into that a little bit, and then I gotta go off to create. And then you said a similar thing about neurosis. It's like there's that, whatever that box is, whatever's in that Pandora's box. So I like just peel the layers off. I get through it, and then I go on. Like,
yeah, I would say the neurosis has to do more with the ups and downs of the business, the ups and downs of executing something of utility into the world, than it does about the longing in the heart. Although it is a very strange how those two things actually do relate at times as well. I do feel that way.
Almost like how you go into them and how long you stay in them and then pop out. It seems like a similar process somehow.
Yeah, also there's this strangeness to my my family, like my mom and my uncle, who are very smart, but also close-minded at times to the way that I'm thinking and to the way that I'm educating myself. They're very conventional in terms of like wanting to like get a college degree and getting like a PhD and like this type of stuff's very important for the world. And I'm like, I probably have one of the best educations in the world by doing this show, getting to sit across from the diversest, smartest at times people. And it's difficult to convey that in a way that unlocks their open-mindedness. And so, you know, at times there's feelings of, you know, mom saying, you know, I'm very proud of you and stuff. And then at other times it's like, you know, we want you to finish your college degree. And I'm like, well, then like those things are at times contradicting.
Yeah, I notice I feel protective of you, and like I appreciate just your radical willingness to walk an unexplored path in service of not only your own exploration, but it just seems to be a profound care for humankind somehow in what you're doing and what you're wanting to deliver. That's a lot of what I've gotten from our talks before. Yeah.
That makes me feel like you're aware of me. Yeah, and because the journey is it's on an unexplored path, and for me it's an unexplored path. For many it's already been explored, and it's the unconventional one, and I want to do and I really want to do what's unconventional. I think there's a lot of wisdom in the unconventional and in the unique. And potentially even that is where creativity lies the most, is in the unique and in the unconventional, and I want to be at the forefront. I constantly want to be at the edge of creativity because it's expanding my awareness to interesting places. But coming back to the heart and coming back to feeling, because I typically go very intellectual at times like this.
I love that you caught it.
Yeah, I typically go super intellectual at times like this, and I want to actually be with these feelings, because these feelings of like longing or desire for both like a partner, if that's even a partner, structure is so interesting. We've had friends that have been teaching us about the we're not married. We're kind of in just a union, like an agreement between us, where we just every month we revisit. I'll get to every month we revisit the way that, that how are the logical things that I said I was going to do? How are the emotional things that I said I was going to do? How are they for you? And that's the kind of thing that I'm probably even more interested in rather than the conventional style. And then there's that longing or desire for maybe something like that. But then there's also this longing and desire for maybe like my uncle especially, to like, he shows love in these very interestingly different ways than conventionally, and my mom also, just like maybe a little bit of like recognition that maybe like what's going on is actually important, because I think part of it has to do with that whole like entrepreneurial journey. Like there's no money in this, there's, and I'm like, the impact, I don't think they really get this about me, because I think they find it strange, but like the impact that I want to leave on the planet, and it doesn't require me earning money personally. Like to have this earn money to be able to continue fueling itself is the most important thing to me. And then my name being written on it doesn't mean anything to me. That you can erase. My name you can erase, as long as the impact on the civilization is for the betterment. And so that's strange to them. And so because of that, I feel a very big disconnect, because they're constantly like, money's very important, it's always been very important, it will always be very important. And so that's it's an interesting disconnect.
So I'm hearing like there's a yearning in your heart for a partner, and that's sort of future oriented, even though it's alive right now. And there's a yearning to be accepted and understood by your family, which is sort of like your past in a way, and your present, but they're sort of both coming together. And it seems like when you feel into those, like you said before, you feel them for a moment, and then you kind of go off into like, okay, I felt them, but now like, what do I have to do? Like I'm wondering, like, do those desires, do those parts of you get their full expression? Like what's it like to feel the desire for love? What's it like to feel the desire for your mom and your uncle's understanding and acceptance?
Yeah, that's a really good question. What is that feeling of desire like? Yeah. What's the feeling of the desire for love and understanding like?
For you?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea at all. This is like the first time I'm probably ever like really trying to understand what this feels like. Yeah.
Let's feel into that together.
I have no idea.
So I have no idea. Like I have this desire for love, and I have no idea what it actually feels like. Wow. So then, like I'm sensing that, like there's all these thoughts about what it'll mean or what it'll take for me to get there. But like then as I feel into that, I go, but I'm not sure how I'm going to recognize the feeling. Like, how will I know when it's there? How will I know when I have it?
Maybe part of it feels like a void, but part of it also feels like a process of growth. And so then it doesn't feel like a void. In exploration, of growth and exploration.
What's the growth in there?
The growth is like you take these feelings of longing and desire and you kind of integrate them into your existence. Yeah. And I think that helps a lot with just day to day. Yeah. But I have no idea. Why do I have no idea what it feels like to have a desire for love and understanding?
So how does it live in you, like right now as we're talking about it?
It feels like a big unknown, huge unknown.
And what does unknown feel like?
It feels like something in the chest that is like,
Here.
yeah, like maybe like this is kind of like what is the word that comes to mind is what?
What? So, what? Is it like a seeking? Is it a feeling of being lost? Is it just like a pure wanting, but not knowing exactly what you want? Is it a sense of denial? Like what? How would you tease out like the?
I think it might be what? It might be a feeling of what? What is this feeling? And then it's a why? Why does it exist? Why haven't I voiced this feeling to other people? And
is that frustration?
It's exploration.
Exploration.
Yeah, it's exploration.
So it's like a searching.
And part of it is frustration. Part of it's like, why is our cultural fabric not able to elicit feelings like this more frequently?
Yeah.
And so that's maybe where the frustration is.
So frustration, that feels palpable. Like I noticed my whole, like just sitting over here, my whole body relaxed when I heard that because it just felt like true. Like, oh, like I feel like I can land in that with you. Before I felt like I was on a little bit of a freight train of the story, like, oh, let's get to all these creations, which felt exciting, yet I felt I felt a little disconnected from you, like from like where I think I felt connected and wanted to feel even more connected just from the first moment.
I have
like,
more.
How's your heart?
I have more about the heart. This feeling that I have about kind of how strange it is to have other people that I'm working on a project with, and how difficult it is to like feel like I care about them like they are myself, like they're part of me and part of my family, and that I love them so dearly without it coming off as inauthentic to where I maybe yeah.
Do you feel that way about them?
I hope that the way that I communicate about the vision of like erasing the name from everything and just having the impact on civilization, because if they come on board for that reason, then the feeling is mutually authentic. But when there's a different purpose for the reason why people are interested in coming on board with what's going on, then I feel like maybe there can be a disconnect. But I think you were talking about this earlier, when the emotion initially rises up, for somebody to voice the emotion immediately, I think that's really important, to be like, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm calling you out on your bullshit, or that I am feeling that love and that trueness, and like being able to say those things help keep people in check, I think, better. And I think I need to be, kept in check, because the truth is, a lot of what I do is schmoozing. Like it's schmoozing. That's the truth. It's telling everybody that what they're doing is very important. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth. That's the raw, real truth. And even though it's true that somebody that is working on a decentralization project is important in their right, as well as someone that's working on a project of mapping the brain or of intimate connection between people, I need to be able to tell someone, maybe one of those three people or one outside of them, that like, hey, what you're working on isn't important to me, and that's why I'm not going to work with you on this, but keep doing what you're doing. We're counting on you.
So there's a distinction you're making in being able to be authentic and real with what you're feeling, and not be shy from delivering it one way or another, like either this is resonating or this is not resonating. And that's important to the selfless work that you're doing in the world, and you want people who are like on board with that, like they're not in it for the power or the money or the name. They're in it actually to make a profound impact on the world, and that turns you on, like that's alive for you. And in a way, when I think what I'm hearing you sort of tie into, it's like that alone feeds your heart.
Yeah.
Like just to know that you're doing that. There's such a deep connection with yourself.
Like when someone grabs me and tells me that the names don't matter, and get to the goal, and do it for the world, do it together for the world, that feeling has never happened for me. And when that does happen, I think that will really unlock what is peeled back from the layers. And there's a little bit more. I just want to say there's a little bit more, which is that it makes it difficult for other people, because I say so much about like, hey, what you're doing is important. What you're doing is important. Like that, it makes it difficult for people to be like, is this guy actually saying this because he actually thinks that way? And so I need to be more real. I need to be more real. I need to figure out how to properly be real without putting people into suffering or pain. And so there's that. Then there's the longing and desire for a partner, and then there's a longing and desire for my mom and uncle, and then there's this radical like dream, and so it's only scratching the surface of it all, but I want to sprinkle all these different things in this process of you circling me.
It seems like the impact you want to make on the world and what that takes, and the fact that you're willing to be selfless, which means like you're putting that even before yourself. It seems like that takes so much energy and time and commitment and effort and passion.
Yeah.
And I notice I can't help but love you for that, and I imagine a lot of people loving you for that. And
wish they'd say it.
Yeah. And at the same time,
I
wish they'd say it. I felt the sadness in that.
Yeah.
You turned your head like this, and it's almost like you sunk. I felt my heart sunk a little bit. And because I think where my attention started and where it still is like, is Alan's heart getting fed and nourished personally.
Yeah.
Purely personally, not for the effect that you're having in the world, but purely for your own nourishment.
It is nourishment. I don't want it to nourish the ego. It's more about nourishing the heart, and the heart can't just go, work in a cave on all this stuff. You're working amongst other people, and the feeling of, And I think that is part of something that I try and do for people, as I try and nourish their heart along the way and tell them that even though it's a smaller aspect of the impact that you're doing in this certain thing, it's still important. So keep up the good work. We are counting on you. And to hear that in return, like somebody grabbing you and going like, you're doing insanely important things, and putting their hand on your heart and going like, keep up the good work, and like maybe a kiss on the forehead, a huge long hug, like a minute of just hug, like crying. That stuff is just, it's lacking for the nourishment. And it was actually great. I was able to pass some time with my mom.
It sounds like what you described is part of what something you're really longing for, like on a more consistent basis. And you're not getting that. Is that true?
Yeah, like the stoic in me is like, it's not as important as the actual impact, but the emotion in me, the heart in me, the energy is saying, yeah, get some of that along the way, get that nourishment along the way, it'll help a lot. And so that's,
I really just feel the
what
humanness in you speaking, and it's like you are remarkable at giving that to other people. I see you do that all the time.
I hope it comes off authentic, and if it doesn't, I need to be checked as well.
For me, it totally does. I mean, you're so validating. Yeah.
I hope you check me along the way, though, to make sure that I can, keep doing it real. Yeah. I was able to pass some time with my mom lasting, where, just like, cuddling my mom, just like hugging her hugging me, our heads like really close to each other. And I'm probably finally at that point where I'm just like, we don't even need to talk. Like we were just silent for minutes on end, and we talked for a bit and silent for minutes on end of just holding each other, caressing each other. And just that feeling of time going by, holding my mom.
Wow.
Yeah. It was so good. And I know she's not forever. I know she's not forever, and I'm not forever. And that feeling of her smell and the way that she says loving words to me is not forever. And so, I joke around by telling her that, Mom, I'm going to put a voice recorder every time you say, Solnishka moy, Sinishka moy, these words of like, you're my son, I love you, I adore you. Then I'm going to record them, and I'm going to put them on a little like, hopefully when technology gets good enough, put them on a clone of Mom, but so anyway,
As you say that, I'm just taking in like a feeling, imagining I'm you, I'm just taking in a feeling like I'm being held, I'm getting affection, I'm being loved up, I'm being cared for. I'm getting so much more than that 1 minute and the kiss on the forehead. It's like I'm getting all the love in the world in one moment. Yeah, and it's lasting. I've noticed your face lighting up. What's it actually like for you?
You speaking about lasting love, sending that back my way makes me light up. Lasting love. Lasting love. Let's debrief on kind of like what happened in the circle. So usually process.
Did we just end?
Yeah.
That's a fast ending.
That's something that I think Ron actually taught me really well. The director-producer is just like, be real on that. Like it's the end, so it's the end.
Got it.
Get there. and
get there.
and you know, and treat it that way, and make it known for other people. And so sometimes I'm really bad at that, so I'm getting better at that, and I need to listen to him more because he's a very wise person. And
can I just ask like one thing as we actually end?
Yeah.
So like what just happened for you in this, and like what was the journey we just took?
So we finished the process of the actual circle, but then there's a process of debriefing, and that's kind of what we're going through right now, which John just asked me about, you know, the journey that we took, like what happened for me. I tried to waterfall out as much as I could.
What does that mean?
I tried to waterfall out as much of like what I'm feeling as possible, because I'm not like, I don't want to stay at the surface level of how I'm feeling. I want to waterfall out the deepest buckets. You know, there's this bucket of longing for love. There's this bucket of longing for mom and uncle. There's this bucket of longing for the vision to come true. There's this bucket of waterfall. I just want to give it all. And then, and they're all, you know, they're all strangely, somewhat similarly impacting my heart and my energy, but also differently impacting my heart and energy. I want to ask how that was for you.
I feel like I got another slice of your world. I feel a little bit more connected to you. Just so much love for you. I have so much love for you.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Likewise.
I mean, yeah, I appreciate what you're doing in the world, and I don't even mean to have a tone of voice of minimizing that. I mean, I think it's extraordinary and remarkable, and so few people have their attention on this. And like the way you described, you're like being on the edge. It reminded me of like the way Einstein would describe like riding a wave of energy to learn about light or something. You know. And separate from anything else you're doing, even if you weren't doing any of it, I just like who you are.
Thanks,
I just
Sean.
like being around you.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, and I just was really touched by your longing. I felt that deep desire, just like you wanting something for yourself that's separate from your impact on the world.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I felt really in touch with that. And if anything,
You're right.
I felt a desire to be with that more. I felt a desire to just sit in there and just feel the desire, whether or not there's any belief of whether that can happen now. The desire just seems so pure and so innocent and so real. And I just wanted to be with that part of you more.
I'm happy to be with that feeling more in our next conversations. Let's do so, because that nourishment is very important. So thank you, John.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are we allowed to hug?
Yeah, let's hug. Of course. Let's switch to the hard side now. Mm.